Hello. In this episode, I'll give a brief synopsis of An Incident in the Park by Meja Mwangi, which is one of the short stories from A Silent Song and Other Stories, an anthology by Siundu Edwin. Welcome. Right. Meja Mwangi is a Kenyan writer who was born in 1948. He has written various novels and short stories since early 70s. He writes about urban themes, and An Incident in the Park is no exception. Though debatable, it is my humble opinion that the story is a pastiche and that it borrows heavily from the late Gabriel Omolo's two songs, namely Lunchtime and Big Fish. Gabriel Omolo was a Benga musician. His two songs were sung in the 70s. Lunchtime was written to show how different classes of people spent their lunch hour in Nairobi. Some went to the eateries while others slept under trees in the parks due to poverty. This is the same thing that An Incident in the Park depicts. On the other hand, Big Fish was a metaphorical song in that it talked about how unacceptable it was that African elites exploited fellow Africans simply because they had found themselves in prestigious positions in post-colonial Kenya. These are the very allusions presented in the story An Incident in the Park. Works of art don't come from a vacuum, and borrowing is highly normal as they indicate the inspirational sources that the artists or that the authors work with. So An Incident in the Park is a typical lunchtime story that transcends time and space and is bound to be relatable to any African from any African country. In an attempt to bring out the reality of the park, the author utilizes various scenes and characters. We are first introduced to a sleepy park full of mindless inactivity, which soon awakens when office workers invade the park during their lunch break. When they get back from lunch, the incident happens. The incident, as the title goes, is an understatement of the mob justice that ends with the lynching of a fruit vendor mistaken for a thief. The story ends grimly with the people in the park hanging their heads in shame, at the injustice they have caused the man. So in a bit talk about post-colonial Africa, Meja Mwangi uses the third narrative to exploit class issues by depicting how those who lack jobs while away their time in public parks, how different cadres of working class afford different types of meals according to their pockets, and how peasants struggle to earn a living in the persons of the fruit vendor and the ice cream seller. Towards the end, Meja Mwangi uses the first-person narrative, revealing that the narrator of the story was in fact the stranger who had shared a cigarette with the loafer at the fish pond. An Incident in the Park reminds one of the suffering that the people, especially in Kenya, we have Uhuru Park, where people who are struggling or people who are hungry, people who are job searching, usually go to pass away time and live to face another day. On a deeper level, the story is symbolically set around the great big fish who lives in the ocean. Again here, Meja Mwangi must have borrowed this phrase from Gabriel Omolo's song Big Fish, which was sung in the early 70s. In the song, Gabriel says that in the post-colonial Kenya, it is now the African who has taken the place of the white man. However, the African leader has transformed into another white man, mercilessly exploiting the black man, having become the big fish that now swallows the small fishes. This big fish or these big fishes fail to pay the Africans their wages as expected. Similarly, in this story, we see the fruit vendor who is scared of going before the judge for fear that the judge will exploit him. And also the city council policemen have no mercy at the poor man. Instead, they expect better bribe from him, as in 50 shillings is not enough. But they willingly accept to carry the baskets when he offers to give them 100 shillings and one of the bags. It is no wonder then that the story begins under a harsh climate. The whites are gone, modernity in the form of buildings stayed, but Africans became mean towards their own. The whites left behind a harsh economic climate. The story richly utilizes stylistic devices such as metonymy, contrast, and symbolism, among others. However, there is a seeming overuse of personification which exhausts rather than refreshes the reader. In this episode, we have talked about a brief synopsis of the story, but in the consecutive lessons or episodes, you're going to discuss the themes and the stylistic devices as used by Meja Mwangi in his story, An Incident in the Park. We look forward to interacting with you. Please feel welcome. In the meantime, you can subscribe to our channel. You can also press the like button. And thank you for watching. Bye.